Mum had to come down to Essex due to the fact that I lost my sister and brother-in-law to cancer. So she lived with my sister. So because there wasn't anyone up there that could look after her, she came down to Essex. She lived with my brother for 9 months because we were doing our house up. And then Mum came and lived with us. Although she was living with my brother, I went every morning to wash her, change her, did everything for her as regards to that. So that was quite hard really, because although he only lives in Little Thurrock and I live near Lakeside, it's that travelling in the morning, just going and getting Mum up and everything else. But that wasn't, we could have had carers I suppose, but me being me, I felt it was my role to look after her. So that's what I did for nearly a year. And then when the house was completed, she came and lived with us. And I looked after her solidly for 3.5 years, as well as at my brother's. And then, well, it just got too much. And in my job, I'm always telling people to look after themselves. I just didn't take any notice of that myself. But then it was only that somebody pointed out, you know, something's got to give. So we got carers coming in. So I had carers, and they were absolutely tremendous. They became friends. My mum loved it because there was people coming in from outside that were telling them things that are happening in their life, you know, instead of just being me. Mum wasn't bedbound for the first few years, so that we used to go out. I used to take her on holiday and everything, but then she became bedbound, and she went into hospital and come out, and that's when they decided that we needed more care. The hospital were absolutely superb. The discharge planner was with the palliative care team, because Mum was palliative then. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Then I had the hospice phone me. I had somebody around from the hospice who I actually knew from years ago, because I used to work in the hospital for the NHS on the stroke unit, and I knew this particular nurse. She came round to talk to me about the procedure, what I can do, and reassured me that all the medical stuff would be taken care of. I was offered care 4 times a day actually, but I didn't want them 4 times a day. I wanted them to come in the morning to make sure she was clean, fresh and everything else, and at night time. During the day was fine, but it was on the understanding that they made me promise that I would get in touch with them if there was any emergency, and they would come out and sort Mum out. So no fault at all with any of the carers, no fault with anyone regarding Mum's care. Two years ago I went down to 4 days, really just so that I could, I wasn't working all the time, but I work from home, so I'm home-based working, and then I go out to my clients and what have you. But obviously with COVID that changed a lot. I did find it hard when I was able to go out and about, but during the COVID, when you can't go out, then I realised how restrictive life could be. I was fortunate because I could still go out in my car to shopping and what have you, just for the needs and everything else. But for carers that are at home 24/7 and have no access to getting out, oh, I just don't know how they cope. I really don't know how they cope, because you just feel as if the walls are beginning to close in on you. And I wonder how elderly people who are carers manage. Seriously don't know how they manage without any help. It must be absolutely traumatic for them.